Cheers, Rudy. Speaking of Rudy, this is your last chance to send me your very quick clip to wish the great man a happy birthday. Oh, you're new here. Here's a quick recap. I want you to put this in your diaries. Ready? October 11th, because on this very special day, Rudy will be celebrating his 88th birthday. If you think Rudy is a legend and you feel like doing something special for the good man, then just like Dave, why not grab your mobile device, pour yourself either a whiskey or a shot of your favourite tipple and do a very quick cheers, Rudy, from your location. For example, it should look something like this. Cheers, Rudy, from Texas. Cheers, Rudy, from Calgary. Or cheers, Rudy, from Clonferrilgilligogogoch. You get the drift. And if you want to have more impact, then have your animals with you. And your dog. Now, we don't have much time. I will need it before October the 11th. I'll leave a link in the description so you can send me your very short video, and I will make sure in my video on Tuesday 15th, I will make a compilation for the good legend. Now get cracking. I will collate all the clips and publish them in next Tuesday's video. ANYHOOOO! Welcome to offense culture. We are all offended by something. But how do we know what is truly offensive, and who are the arbiters of ruling what we can see, hear and read, and what should be covered, seized, redacted, removed or hidden from people like you and me? Are we now that offended by images and words that we can't decide to flick a channel, swipe to another story, or just look at something and say in our best Australian vernacular, yeah, nah, not for me? I read in the American magazine The Nation had printed a formal apology for running a harmless 14-line poem by a white writer about homelessness. The poet sins, using the word cripple. Facebookers were incensed. The poet apologised. For what? Using the word cripple? Maybe the poet used the word because he couldn't find a word that rhymed with disabled. Debagled? That works. The poet's apologies regretted the pain, harm and offence that this sad-ass little poem had caused. But let's get real. None of these poetry readers felt any pain. Remember pain? Like actual pain? I mean, drop a brick on your foot in sandals. Yeah, that's pain. No one suffered any harm, either tangible or psychic. Actually, wearing sandals can be quite traumatic. Don't wear sandals. You know I do stories on the entitled and insecure kids of today, but I don't buy into the notion that the snowflake generation is all that sensitive. I mean, Antifa protesters in balaclavas can be quite violent snowflakes that may have induced institutions to employ the language of fragility. But I think a lot of these kids are tough as old boots, except when the weak and pathetic snowflakes resort to this behaviour at a recent protest in Canada. Take a look. Oh, and a heads up, you should be incensed by this.
Off our street! Nazis come! 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 Off our street!
Very good. Yell from there. Yell right there. I'm just standing here.
Nazis come!
Off our street!
Nazis come! Nazis come! Off our street! 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 Don't fucking touch me! Don't fucking touch me! Nazis come! Off our street! Nazis come!
Did you see the pathetic masked weasel of a woman cower when an officer moved her on? How weak. We keep hearing about the terrible distress caused by these so-called freedom fighters. But bullies on the left like her use weakness to conceal aggression, and today's torrent of touchiness and oppression is bogus. I don't buy it. No one is truly distressed. No one's feelings are really hurt. This stuff is all about pushing other people around. Which brings me to this. Ad Standards Australia has launched a provocative campaign which highlights a number of social issues which can cause concern in advertising campaigns, including sexism, racism, misguided claims, and advertising to children. The Kinder Conditions campaign by Ad Standards Australia's independent advertising complaints adjudicator advocates for positive social messaging in advertising. The campaign aims to challenge the community and business sectors to identify advertising that promotes social good through actions such as breaking gender stereotypes, increasing diversity, and social inclusion. Also promoting healthy food depictions, safe driving practices, responsible marketing to children, and transparency in advertising. Fiona Get Ya Jolly Off, CEO of Ad Standards, said the campaign hopes to encourage the Australian public to identify advertising that exceeds the advertising codes. She says, the fact is, while the advertising codes set high standards, we can encourage brands to exceed these to create positive change in the world. The public should be aware of the standards in place and be encouraged to value socially progressive advertising. Really? Well, let's talk about being offended. What is wrong with any of these billboards? Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Did you say, G-Mann, there really isn't anything wrong with those ads, except the Ad Standards finds them sexist, hurtful, demeaning, and wait for it, offensive. Okay, what about these ads?
New dad too. Wow, look at this lunch.
Yeah, hard to choose. Oh, this looks good.
That's really good.
Well, that's the Philadelphia.
Let's not tell Mum.
Shocking, hey? A disabled man proving that anything is possible. A couple of guys being great dads and a woman enjoying some quiet time with her young baby, all the while sitting on a park bench drinking her beverage of choice. Yep, pull those ads. But an ad depicting menstrual blood did not breach the ad standards. A commercial showing a woman in stained underwear and another with blood running down legs has been deemed offensive by some viewers. But the advertising watchdog has dismissed over 600 complaints about a TV commercial for sanitary products which depicts menstrual blood for the first time on Australian TV. The panel noted that the depiction is an accurate presentation of a real physical occurrence. Oh, we're having menstrual liberation. How woke. Take a look.
The ad showed essentially the day of a life of a female going through menstruation and having...
Oh, great! We're going to have a look at a day in the life of a female during her menstrual cycle, with the marketing manager being a 12-year-old.
Having a period. So from the likes of, I guess, being at a dinner party and needing a pad and asking across the table for a pad, or walking to the bathroom and not having shame of putting a pad up the sleeve of your jumper while you're needing to go change your pad. So simple, everyday, I guess, examples of what it's like for women today having a period that doesn't necessarily get portrayed in that way. And that's really what we wanted to demonstrate, was that periods are normal and showing them should be too. So why is this such an embarrassing and taboo subject still today?
Yes, periods are normal, but is showing a female having a period normal? And is it really taboo?
So what we showed was, on the first clip, was a vial of what was intended to be menstrual fluid. It wasn't actually for hygiene purposes and so forth like that. But what that intended to do was to actually depict the colour of menstrual blood, which is in fact red.
Did you hear how condescending she was when she said...
But what that intended to do was to actually depict the colour of menstrual blood, which is in fact red.
Thanks, Einstein, for that. I'm so glad you pointed that out. I couldn't have continued with my life thinking that menstrual blood was blue. How embarrassing would that have been?
Because at the end of the day, we're not bleeding blue, it's red blood. So essentially what we wanted to do was face this issue head on and actually show the colour of menstrual fluid in what it actually is, which is red. Yeah, look, we also had a scene where we had a woman going to the bathroom and pulling down her underwear, and on that pad was menstrual blood in terms of the colour being red. So again, for filming reasons, it wasn't actual menstrual blood, but it
For filming reasons, it wasn't actual menstrual blood, it was just the colour of menstrual blood.
was the colour of menstrual blood being red, so depicting exactly what would be expected.
Hang on, did I just see a woman floating on a lilo in a pool that was the shape of a menstrual pad? And she was wearing a red bikini? Oh, how clever marketing. Top of the class to you, Laura.
Of a female when they have their period and they go to the bathroom and what they see on their pads. So the way that we showed this through the campaign, whether it was, the woman in the shower and, the likelihood of having a bit of blood trickle down the leg, it was all sensitively portrayed in the natural course of what a woman experiences when they're going through their period. Look, we went into this campaign knowing that it was, potentially going to be controversial. We knew that. But look, this all stemmed back from the research that we conducted originally. Libra spoke to over 1,000 men and women, and the statistics that came back were really alarming. So
You spoke to men. I'd love to see that research paper. No, seriously, what were they saying?
85% of New Zealand women feel shame and stigma attached to period, and more so, we're seeing that 9 in 10 women are using avoidance behaviours. So they're avoiding talking about their periods, they're not wearing white clothing, or they're avoiding swimming. So
9 in 10 women, so 90% of women are portraying avoidance behaviour. By what? Not wearing white outfits or swimming? Seriously, avoidance behaviour? You're making this up as you go along, aren't you?
So we knew going into this campaign that there was potentially going to be some people that felt uncomfortable with the idea. However, overwhelmingly, we've had a really positive response. And, those people that have been positive about it feel that this is the time. The time is right to be starting a new conversation around menstruation, and that really there should be no taboo, no shame or embarrassment attached to this, and it's really needed today.
No shame or embarrassment, and it's really needed today. Yep, it really is. Like sandals.
Women today should not be shrouded in shame. They shouldn't need or feel the need to hide their periods.
Okay, it's jazz hands time. All those women shrouded in shame. I wonder what the men think in your manufacturing plant. What do they think about the ad campaign?
They think it's fantastic. I mean, they live and breathe this every day. And
They think it's fantastic, and they live and breathe this every day. Maybe a wrong choice of words. Too funny. One commenter wrote, I get that having a period is a totally natural thing, and I'm far from shocked watching this advert. However, I'm not so sure I need to see the event any more than someone wiping their ass after a shit or vomiting into a bucket. Laura responded with, vomiting and pooing are not stigmatised. Menstruation is. Like any taboo that has been shrouded in shame, the more people see it, the more normal the topic becomes. Our #BloodNormal campaign tackles the issue head on and in a positive way, showing periods in action in everyday life, truthfully and honestly. The overwhelming positive response to the campaign tells us that we are on the right path to help remove the stigma that menstruation is unclean or something to be embarrassed about. The Blood Normal campaign, run by the global health and hygiene company Essity, has been shown in the UK, France, Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Ukraine, Italy, the US, Argentina and South Africa. Wait a minute, what about Somalia, Zimbabwe, India, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia or even Fiji? Oh, blood on a predominantly white skin is more effective. Gotcha. Am I offended by this latest campaign by Libra? Nah, not really. Do I care? No, not at all. But I have to ask, is it necessary? 50% of the population don't give ads like this a second thought. Sorry, 50% plus Jonathan Yaniv. For the other 50%, do you need to be reminded that your menstrual blood is red and not blue? Does this bring to light how progressive you are with your powerful message of freedom of expression and my body, my life? Let me repeat the message from earlier. The panel noted the depiction is an accurate presentation of a real physical occurrence. Yes, will so is urinating and defecating. Will sorbent produce ads that depicts an accurate presentation of a real physical occurrence? What about Durex or Kleenex? We get it. Women menstruate. It's real. It seems that women are obsessed with their vaginas. Not only are there groups on Facebook and Instagram wanting women to celebrate their yonnies, you also have the Vagina Chronicles, getting a plaster cast of your vagina, and now you have these two women who are crowdfunding to raise money, wait for it, to build a vagina museum. But that's a story for another time. My old white man privilege advice is this. If you are truly upset by these types of stories, your anger won't help. Anger inhibits clear-mindedness. Don't get angry, have a laugh or a whiskey. So what do you think? Are the ad standards playing by equality or playing into the hands of the so-called entitled snowflake and the let's be woke generation? I'd love to know your thoughts. Last week's video, as predicted, was demonetized, as will this one be, which is quite ironic that I am celebrating women's vaginas and menstrual cycles and talking about it, so it can't be seen as going against YouTube's guidelines, can it? We'll see. Of course you can support me by liking, sharing, commenting, even trolling. I like trolls. They can't spell. And don't forget to subscribe. And if you are new here, look, there it is, right there. Do it, or there'll be blood on your hands. See what I did there? I'm Gerald Pauschmann for The Point TV. Cheers, Rudy.